Hello everybody, Grizzly Pig here. Welcome to today's episode. And this is a big one because I'm going to be talking about spice today, particularly how to get it really safely, particularly with the recent changes in the game where they made half the deep desert PvE and people are going to be struggling to get spice more than ever because most of the grids are full of people just swarming the PvE grids with spice. And of course, in the PvP area, it is even more competitive. So I'm going to show you this method that I use. It will be no surprise to a lot of you, but this will be really helpful still, hopefully, because I've got some little tips and tricks you might have missed. And we are farming spice on Siege, the PvE grid that is your home. So you can see already we've got a small spice field right here. And this method is absolutely amazing if you do it on the quiet times on your home grid. It depends how busy your grid is as well, obviously. So let's firstly discuss what do we need and where are we going. So of course you want to get yourself a Mark IV, that's the cheapest ornithopter you can get, Scout with storage. And you want the best compactor you can afford. I don't recommend using the Mark VI, I will show you the best one. That is going to be the Mark V Compact Compactor. You can either farm this in the A grid in Deep Desert at the test stations, or you can buy this on the marketplace. If you're lucky, you'll get it cheap. Next up, we're using Radiation Suit. I've got Mark V here. Mark IV or even Mark III will do. I'll come back to why we're using this in a little bit. And make sure you have your full suspensor belt on. It's important that you have this for a certain situation that, again, I'm going to come back to. Be careful how you use this, though, in the desert, because it does attract the worm, the same as the Holtzman shield. So do not ever activate your Holtzman shield when you're doing this. Don't forget your Litajon as well, of course. So now on to where we're going. There's 3 areas, effectively. So we're going to be taking this area in the west of the map here. This is pure sand. We're also going to be going around the radiation zone, and that is why we're using our radiation suit, particularly in this bottom left corner is very good there. And then we're also going in the red sand area, the second area you go to when you first start out, or we're just going to zigzag around and I'll show you exactly where we go there. And once we're done, we're going to shoot off the right hand side of the map and start all over again back on the west. So let's get back to the farm. As you can see, we land as close as we can to the field without actually being in it. You could land in it if you want to, and then just hold left click with your compactor out, shoot 5 or 6 times in the middle, making sure that they're spaced far enough away because you don't want them to produce small heaps. If you've got time before you grab the worm's attention, start also pumping around the edge as well. This is just a min-max thing. You don't have to get the last little bits if you really don't want to. As soon as you hear that worm, get in your ornithopter and fly up. Now you have actually got like 5 to 10 seconds as soon as you hear him before you've got to do anything. So if you want to be risky, then you can go ahead and get a few more pumps out with the compactor. But sometimes things get laggy, sometimes something can go wrong, you get glitched. So it's best as soon as you hear that worm just to get in your ornithopter and fly off, because although an ornithopter is quite easy to make if it gets destroyed in your hazmat suit, the thing you don't really want to lose is your Mark V compactor. It is very cheap to make. It's actually mostly getting the blueprint, buying that or farming it is a pain because sometimes people want 70,000 Solaris for the compactor blueprint. I've been as lucky as to buy it for as low as 20,000. This one recently I bought for 40. So we got ourselves in the region of about 550 spice from that field there. It varies. You can take a skill in the planetologist to give you more yield from your compactor. That is on the left hand side of the planetologist, 3 up from the bottom, I believe. So please do take that one. I fully recommend that. I would say actually it's a must for doing this. And we're going to fly over now and just cover the west side of the map. You can glide low if you want to, but ideally I would say it's good to be at least 600 meters in height. That's because the spice fields you can see from an absolute mile off. So it's good to be high, and then your visibility is at its best. So we're just going to check on the right here, because in that little crevice over to the right, there is sometimes a spice field. And now we're just found a wreck, so we're going to check that out. And these are super quick, and you can get spice from them as well. So this is relevant. You can get blueprints. They're not always best here, but so we're going to land in, and there's 3 areas that we will need to use our cutter ray on. When you land, find the area here. So this one is on the right. blast it open with the cutter ray and then just loot it really quickly like that. Then get on top. Do not use your full suspender belt if you can avoid it. You can even unequip it if you want to. Take this off, grab all the materials. Again, there can be spice in here, but the other compartment is the most important because it can have blueprints in as well. And some of this stuff is quite heavy. You can see I had to get rid of some scrap metal, so if you need to, do that as well. Now we're just going to fly over the other side, but while we're doing that, we're just going to check where the worm is as well. This is just me trying to be safe here, and then we're going to land when we can and grab that last compartment. And you can see why we have the storage on our ornithopter, so we can load the heavy stuff into that, because particularly some of this stuff here from the Rex is quite heavy, and you're also going to get slot caps as well. So this tiny compartment at the back here where the ship is burning at most is the most important compartment, but really in the siege it's not going to be such a big deal. The blueprints, you can use this in the deep desert and get yourself Mark 6 blueprints. This does apply to that as well, so get yourself over there if you want some Mark 6 blueprints and get farming these. You can even take yourself a ornithopter that just has thrusters on if you want to be super quick, and grab 2 or 3 of these before you get overloaded, I guess. So now we're going to head over to the radiation zone, and what I'm trying to do now is gain altitude. So we're using the engines to gain altitude, but what we're actually doing is we're pointing the camera really high up in the sky, as high as it will go. Then we're holding right click because that locks the position which our ornithopter wants to travel, and by holding right click there we can spin the camera while we're holding down the W key still. And if you are holding down right click and then you go into your inventory or the map and then let go of it and come out of that menu again, that will be locked and you can spin the camera about without actually holding right click. Just remember that if you want to cancel it, to click right click again just to reset that. So now we see a spice field here in the radiation zone, so we're going to go down and mine this. And I'm going to show you another tactic that I use. Oh, we got a big freeze there. So this one is relatively close to land, so this is where our skills are going to come into play. So we're going to land over by the rock down here and park safe from the worm, and we're going to discuss what abilities that we can use for this, and this is also where our full suspender belt comes in. So we're going to use the Bindu Sprint right now to get straight out here. This is really the most effective, quickest ability to use. So if you have this, when the worm comes, you really want to use this. But there are also other abilities that we can use in conjunction with the full suspensor belt to get just as good maneuverability. And I'm going to explain how to do those as well. So we're going to grab these, and then when the worm comes, we're going to get ready to use our knee kick to get out of here. We also have the grapple from the trooper tree. That's also really good for this as well. And I'm sure there are some other abilities that you can use as well. So what we did there is we used our knee kick, and then as we were heading in the forward direction, at the back end of it, we held down the space bar, which activated our full suspensor belt and just propelled us straight forwards rather than upwards if you were just to use it on its own. So here we are. I'm using the knee charge from the swordsman tree. I'm using Bindu Sprint from the Bene Gesserit, and then we're using Shigawaya Claw. So these are 3 great abilities for maneuverability that I use. That's just my personal preference. And I don't recommend this. I just wanted to show you the Shigawaya Claw. But when you're going out, you don't really want to use your suspensor belt, of course, because it's fine using it when you've already attracted the worm, but you don't really want to attract the worm before you've even got back to the field. And again, now you can see that this is a very safe method of getting the spice. You don't have to worry about getting back into your ornithopter and then flying upwards. You can just run back to the ornithopter, and it is super simple. I'm full up now. Made a bit of a noob mistake there. You should always dump your spice regularly into your storage. But it doesn't matter because we're going to go straight back there again, and we're still just going to make something better. So we grab these 3 quickly, and then again in the region of about 550 spice right there. So yeah, just for 2 of those, you look at about 11 to 1200 spice. So you can see how this will be very effective if you are on a quiet time on your server. You can just keep doing this forever if you want to. I don't really recommend that though, because the chances are that someone's going to be in the mix there and mess about with your route at some stage. So really, for this tactic, I recommend that you just spend maybe 20 minutes to half an hour on this tops and just do 2 or 3 loops around. So we are heading southeast now, and the reason I'm doing this is just because there is the storm there, and I have worked out what direction it's going, and I've decided that it is actually avoidable by just flying away from it. You can't always do that. If you do get stuck, and of course your ornithopter has stuff in its storage, then you're just going to have to repair it. If you've got planetologist repair skill, then it shouldn't be a problem. And the great thing about that is, if you have to do that, is you can just hide in the back of your ornithopter, like where the ramp comes out, and you will get sheltered from the storm there by your ornithopter. So that's really great. You don't have to use a tent or anything like that. We're gaining altitude again here using the engine, but there is another way that's really cheap and easy to gain altitude, just by basically using the W and S keys to manipulate the direction of your ornithopter instead of like pointing with the mouse effectively. You still can do that, but the W and S keys are much more reactive. So we're going to do a little route across the east here now, go past this wreck, and then once we get up here, we're just going to take a right over the anomaly and head sort of southeast. So we're going to gain some altitude again before we look over to the southeast to see what's going on with the spice down there. This is currently not the quietest time on my server. It's not like the middle of the night or really early morning, so I feel like I'm lucky enough to have just found what I have done so far in this time. But if you are really early, then you can expect a lot more from this. You could probably in one trip farm between 3,000 to 4,000 spice if you're lucky. But if you're in a big guild and you don't want to pull from the guild spice when you're repairing some of your stuff or whatever, or you just want to make some of your own stuff and be self-sufficient, then this is a great way to get hold of those tier 6 weapons or armour really quickly. Of course, you'll need to get yourself plastinium, and that requires titanium and stravidium that you are going to have to go into the PvP area. Especially with this new update, you're not really going to find that much titanium or stravidium in the PvE areas, since there are so many players out there and they have actually reduced the amount of the resources in these new PvE setup grids. That is A through to E, 1 through to 9 is all PvE now. And of course that has an effect on also the PvE area. It's going to be more competitive there as well. So once we reach this rock here, we are going to check behind it, but we're going to go off the edge of the map now, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm sure most of you know about this, like you've been to Arakeen and Harco Village and the Deep Desert, but I'm going to show it anyway because now I don't really want to go back on myself to check again, because if there are new spawns, it's most likely that it's going to be right back the other side where we started pretty much. So here you can see we come out the southeast of the map, and we're just going to go right round to the west here and fly it back in. Simple as that. And that's about the end of the video from here out. I'm just going to show you quickly, because of that storm interrupting me and causing me to slightly change the route. I'm going to go down the south here just to check the radiation zone area for you guys. So I'm just cutting ahead quickly so I can just show you this spot here. It's in the southwest of the radiation zone. I'll get this up on the map, but these two rocks here, particularly this one right in front of it, there is very often a crash and a spice field. And once we've checked that and seen that there is nothing there, then we're just going to go back to the rest of it. You can see on the map where we are. So that's about it. You can see that we got just over 1,200 spice sand there, just from 2 spice fields and a wreck. And you can see I've been farming this every now and then, and I've got myself well over 10,000 spice sand just from doing this. Now you can get more in the PvP areas, I do appreciate that, but this is a great way of getting it, very safe, and just if you've got a bit of downtime for whatever reason. And we're getting some other great intermediate materials as well, particularly the pumps. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this has been helpful, and I will see you guys next time.